We are very fortunate and feeling very pleased to welcome Dr. in IBA, and we are hopeful that we will all be enlightened by his talk and his advices. Before I start the session formally, I will request Mr. Hassan Ahmed for the recitation of Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان الشمس والقمر بحسبان والنجم والشجر يسجدان والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان. Translation. In the name of Allah, the All-Merciful, the Very Merciful. Ar-Rahman has taught the Quran. He has created man. He has taught him how to express himself. The sun and the moon are bound by a fixed calculation, and the vine and tree both prostrate to Allah. He raised the sky high and has placed the scale. Sadaqallahu al-Azim.
Hassan for the recitation of Holy Quran. This session of today is organized with the support of Habib Metro Sirat, one of the leading Islamic banking windows in Pakistan, and Dr. Mohammed Daud Bakar is the chairman of the Shariah board for Habib Metro Sirat. And again, I would like to welcome Dr. Saab for you to honor us and enlightening us about the topic of Islamic finance. Particularly today's lecture is about developing new mindset for innovative Islamic banking products. Before I invite Dr. Saab, I'd like to briefly introduce Dr. Saab to all of you. Dr. Mohammed Daud Bakar is the founder and executive chairman of Amani Group, a flagship and leading Sharia advisory firm. He's also the chairman Sharia board for the Central Bank of Malaysia, Sharia board and Security and Exchange Commission of Sharia of Malaysia. He's also heading the both Sharia boards in Malaysia, and he's also we are very honored to have him as the Sharia board chairman for Habib Metro Sirat. And I'm sure that based on his vast experience and expertise in the Islamic banking world, and he's bringing a wealth of knowledge to Pakistan, and his cross-border experience of working in markets like GCC, Oman, Dubai, Bahrain, Malaysia, and many other jurisdictions. I think it is an opportunity for all of us to learn from his experience, his wisdom. And if we take good notes of today's lecture, I'm sure that you all will, and myself will be beneficial in the end. So without further delay, again, I thank you to coming to Pakistan and honoring us at IBA Centre for Excellence in Islamic Finance. This center is a center that is established to promote Islamic finance research, thought, training. And alhamdulillah, for the last 7 years, IBA CEIF is constantly working with the industry And we have a couple of these sessions happening across the year, where we try to invite global experts and local experts of Islamic finance. And this opportunity is again given today as well. So you can interact with the scholars, you can learn from we can learn from each other, and we take those learning points for the development of Islamic finance industry in Pakistan. So with these words, I like to welcome Dr. Saab for your talk. Thank you.
I'm still young.
So can we have Dr. Saab focus?
Would you want to the camera, right? Okay, can go ahead.
Is it possible, or Dr. Saab,
You prefer me to speak from the
will they prefer?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Salatan wa salaman ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi at-tahirin at-tayyibin amma ba'd. Thank you for having me in this important evening talk. I would rather prefer to talk in a very informal way, in a very unstructured way, to have more impact on the discussion, the insights, as well as the thinking process of Islamic banking and finance. Of course, if you have been following my writings and my thought, I started with the first book called Shariah, Islamic Finance in 2016. In that book, I have taken the liberty and the challenge at the same time to bring about, for the first time ever, how does a Shariah scholar think and react and perceive issues coming to their attention. In other words, I was trying very best to highlight the algorithm, the line of thinking of the Sharia scholars advising the industry. Some of them are very positive outlook, and some of them having some criticism from a scholar to the scholars fraternity. So the book has been published with the aim to bring the Sharia algorithm, Sharia mind, closer to the people across stakeholders. The regulator, they have to take note who are these creatures before them, Sharia advisor, the public, the shareholders, the media, even the cynics and the critics of Sharia scholars in the market. That was in 2016. Then 1 year after, I published another book about Sukuk, and have taken the case study of Emirates Airline Sukuk to issue one of the Sukuk, which was about Sukuk, which was a very innovative structure using the guarantee by the Her Majesty Government of UK, and it was about using the ATKM, the available tone of kilometer, in terms of the flying time of the Airbus to be built and to be supplied and delivered to Emirates Airlines. So ATKM was invented in that process. It became a new asset class to be securitized in that particular sukuk. And it was my second book, divided into two parts. The first part explaining the mechanics, the mathematics of sukuk, the very definition and essence of sukuk, and the second part was about the features of the sukuk, which has won many awards of the world. So moving from Shariah mind to the sukuk market, in between, as a scholar, I took the opportunity to write another book, nothing to do with Islamic banking and finance, an interesting book called I Have 25 Hours a Day, explaining how can we create 1 hour extra a day. And that book in both English and my own mother tongue. Has been very, very interesting book in Malaysia. Has changed the life of so many people, politicians, doctors, nurses, police, judges, because it helped everyone to have more time in the day. I'm rewriting the book, of course, after traveling all over the world. I thought I need to have more time. 1 hour extra is not good enough. Not good enough. I have been engaged in many things. I'm going to explain to you in a bit. So I'm rewriting the book next year. I'm going to slash 25 hours. I will be replacing with 20 hours a day. So you wanted to buy the book by this year, not next year. As a kind of introduction, I have moved on from Shariah into many other businesses. I'm the founder of remittance payment, the first in the world using mobile phone in the fintech era. I have another company called Fintech on Technology. We are helping the bank to reduce their reliance on human and moving on to the smart machine learning using the two scientific knowledge, the NLP, Neuro Language Processing, and Neuro Language Generation, NLP, NLG. It was a display coming from the cancer scan technology. We have converted into the ability to understand, prescribe the medicine, and also to predict the future. Most of the AI in the world, they can prescribe and they can describe and prescribe, but not predict. So this is what I have done. So I'm also involved in rubber glove industry. I have few factory line in the vaccination for goat and sheep against pneumonia. 40% of the goat and pneumonia in Pakistan, India. We have our data of the world. 40% died globally. So I need to create an instrument for sustainability because these are the food supply for humans. So under HIF zone and nafas, to protect human, you have to protect animal. And the Quran talk about animal many, many times. This is one of the maqasid, food security. So in my book, Maqasid al-Shariah, I talk about food security. I have explained why food security should be in addition to the 5 maqasid that we have with all the evidences in the Quran. So moving on, a book on mindset, a book on the time management. Actually, it's not time management, it's self-management. You cannot change the time. It's about changing the way you eat, the way you work, the way you sleep, the way you interact, the way you prepare your clothes, everything. You have to be able to do the concept of wal asri to become a better person every single day. I move on. The other book are not important to you. I wanted to talk about something in your work. Of course, I write more book on motivation nowadays. I have written the first book on the novel Al-Quran. Al-Quran is the story, the first in the world. No other scholar have created the tafsir of Al-Quran through the novel, through the story of life. I started with Al-Duha, Al-Balad, Al-Inshirah, Al-Layl, and Al-Fajr. My intention to complete the whole 114 surah of the Quran. Very popular in Malaysia. The youngsters like to read the novel, same time they can understand the meaning of every single ayah of the Quran. Coming back to the Islamic banking, I have written a book on mainstreaming Islamic finance. What are the critical success factors and what are the critical failure factors in the book, published by one of the universities in Malaysia. I was the chair professor in that university, Muslim University. Then I moved on to write on another book, which is very, very intellectual in nature, about the theory of risk sharing, the theory of wealth circulation and risk sharing. I have put my hypothesis that risk is not the requirement, risk sharing is not the requirement of the Sharia. Risk is about human ability to take or not to take, or even to transfer or not to transfer. Islamic finance must free ourselves from the dogma that Islamic finance is all about risk sharing. It is not, it is only half or quarter of the whole thing. I have commented on so many evidence produced by the proponent of risk sharing in Islamic finance. I'm not saying risk sharing is bad. I'm saying debt and risk sharing are equally good. This is the whole hypothesis of the book. You may refer to the book. I mean, not that heavy, but about 200 pages for you to enjoy reading. Then somehow I have started writing about Maqasid since 2016. When I was writing the Shariah Mind, I started developing one chapter after one chapter on Maqasid al-Shariah. Then in 2000, the same year, I was involved in fintech world. Then I was introduced to AI and big data. Then when I read the Quran, wow, it's data driven. Quran is full of data and it has a pattern, it has algorithm. Everything has been structured nicely to pinpoint to one message. And this is the whole idea of the Quran being repeated over and over to create a message which we call the tone at the top, the voice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I took my own time, the pandemic came, gave me more time to write a very masterpiece, the second masterpiece of the Shariah Mind, the Maqasid al-Shariah. Alhamdulillah, the book is ready and being read by many people, intellectual or the normal people on the street. And the last book, which I have written, but not yet published, I call it the DNA of Islamic banking. I decided not to publish because I was still with the regulator then, with the Central Bank of Malaysia. So I don't want to publish something which is, it might be interpreted wrongly. So I waited, and now I'm no longer the chairman of the Shariah Board of Central Bank. I thought the time has come for me to, speak my mind as an intellectual, as a scholar, as a researcher, observer, traveler, meeting, the whole sectors of the industry from Korea, Japan, Australia, all the way to America and Canada. So the book will be available perhaps in the first or second quarter of this year. Basically, I was saying in the book, one line or few words, Islamic banking is all about becoming an efficient intermediary and not to become an efficient trader or manufacturer or contractor or anything else. To know more, you have to buy the book later. This is some of my journey intellectually, brothers and sisters. I wanted to start off my this evening session very light note that as a scholar, we need to write. As a scholar, we need to read, we need to think, but more importantly, as a scholar, we need to start writing. And of course, you are at IBA, you are trained to read a lot, to put an assignment, to argue and to counter-argue and to create the knowledge from deliberation, to refine the knowledge, to extend the knowledge, to commit the knowledge, to make it many derivatives of the knowledge, but it ends up with one thing, writing. So please learn the art of putting your thought in writing, because writing can be an opener for you to see the whole world differently. Everyone can speak, right? Everyone can argue, but not everyone can write. The moment you become a writer, you become a very refined personality. I was rough, I was unstructured, I was not that polite in the past, I was this, I was that, but the moment I start writing book after the book, now I have 40 books already in all genres, including the novel for the youth, including the animal stories. Yeah, I mean, a few pages on this for the youngsters. Not only meant for youngsters, meant for politicians. A lot of, they call it lesson behind the animal story. One lesson. They call it? They call it satire in English. Satire, satire in our language. This is our scholars in the past, Al-Jahid has written Al-Hayawan in the past, so very critical book about the leaders and politicians during the time. So, Alhamdulillah, this is something I wanted to start off, and innovation comes faster if you write, because it pushes your mindset to think more refined and not just to write anything. Writing anything is not the culture of a good writer. And by writing, I think, Alhamdulillah, Allah has given me the courage and the ilham and the guidance to produce more and to be interconnected. I'm not isolated anymore. In the past, I'm a scholar, a Shariah scholar, but I'm isolated. I'm not linked to the other sectors. But the moment you are exposed, you start to write, you've got to be very careful. You are writing about legal, you have to check the fact of legal, taxation, human, psycho, education, you have to be more careful. And Alhamdulillah, may Allah protect us and bless us. And I hope I can write more in the future. And the last madness I have gone through is becoming the owner of the football club in Malaysia. And that has changed my personality. I'm becoming faster and quicker. And I cannot be walking slowly, I have to walk faster because my players are running all the time. True, when I went to see the game and the training, it affected me. The way I eat, I have to work faster because you are influenced by the environment. And the football club has changed my perspective. I can share with you, you are my colleagues. I think we are elitists. All of us are elitists. I was elitist, but no longer. Now I wanted to spend more time with the people on the street. And football has brought me that interesting, opportunity. Now I'm speaking motivation to young students. I'm bringing the football players to the school, and I have all the red carpet, quote and unquote, to speak to the young people. I think I started feeling that I am speaking to the right people at my age, to transform them to become a better student, and obedient children to their parents. And when we come to the school in the rural areas, the parents and the teachers are taking the line early in the morning to welcome us. And that is a good movement, a new revolution. Alhamdulillah, this is what I wanted to say. I have not spoken on anything specific, but you can pick up from the book, The Mindset of Said Panem. Every book has a very distinguished hypothesis, and the time is not enough sufficient for me to detail out, but you can ask me any question. I try to elaborate further. This is my contribution to the industry, the Shariah mindset, the Maqasid empirical mindset, the data-driven mindset, the Islamic banking, the DNA, and the next book, which I started writing, two important books, Shariah Mind Part 2, more atomic, and the psyche of the fatwa.
Wow.
Because I discovered in my research, some of the fatwa are driven not by knowledge, by the psyche and the motion and the emotion. So I'm writing that kind of book in the next 1 or 2 years. May Allah bless me. And this is one of the aspects that I need to write, because I have traveled, I have met with so many people. So my writing is not from the library, from the travel I have had in the past 50 years or so. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
So as the honorable speaker said, the floor is open, and any one of you want to ask anything, please feel free, raise your hand and you can ask. Yes,
So you talked about Hifz al-Nafs in Maqasid al-Sharia.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of innovation happening around the globe, specifically with reference to food grown in labs.
Yeah.
And plant-based food and meat grown in labs. So what is your take on that?
This is the future technology, because if you can increase the production per acre, per ton, that is the food security. The normal open area of farming is gone by now because it is open for weather conditions to make everything not certain volatility. Even in Pakistan, I'm reading the data on your supply of food. No one can guarantee that. But the moment you put in the database, you control the temperature, the seed, and the length, and even the bandwidth. I have been involved in cannabis oil in Australia, coming from Canada. So they have created the IP to control every single, even the dust in the room, to make sure that everything will follow the standard, because they wanted to make it the pharmaceutical product, so it has to comply with FDA standard of US. And that policy, that technique can be used for chili, for onion, for potato, even for rice. Though they have put it for the cannabis oil, very sensitive. In fact, to be honest, I have to declare, cannabis oil, cannabis plant is godsend plantation. A lot of benefit of it, particularly against bacteria. And, the diabetic patient, many of them, they have to be amputated because they cannot cure the bacteria spreading out. Cannabis oil is the best cure and treatment. So coming back to technology based, given the climate change and whatnot, we need to invest more in the technology based plantation. In Malaysia, government of Malaysia has provided a lot of budget. They don't support the normal farmers anymore. You wanted to get our grant, make sure you have the technology. Have you seen the chili like this, 10 meters? I've seen now in Malaysia, 10 meters, chili. And it can survive. The normal chili, about 40 days, gone. You have to replant. The one can last for 2 years. Technology from, I think, German or Belgium. So the more we speak, as we speak, I'm also I bought the technology, sorry, a bit boring, not saying thank you, but it's food security, maqasid Shariah. I mentioned about 40% of the good and sheep dying from pneumonia. Fish, 50% died in the pond, especially in this part of the world, not in Europe. In Europe, they have injected every single fish when they're small. We don't have that money, we don't have that technology. So most of our fish in Philippines, in Indonesia, Malaysia died more than half of the quantity. We have invented, alhamdulillah, I put my own money by the IP. We have created technology to put in the feed, so they can throw the feed, they can eat. And most of the fish, they die because of the skin that they have collapsing. When the skin are collapsing, the bacteria and the virus would come in. That's why the reason why they die. So this technology can cure the illness, and the fish can survive longer and can create food security to people. You can go on plantation, animal meat, even the quality of feeding to chicken and beef. I have invested my own money in one plant in Malaysia, to bring to Pakistan one day. This plant can give 70% of the protein to all animals. That's why we are giving now feed, a lot of feed, but they cannot grow big because protein is about 30% or 20% or low. But this kind of plant, very famous in Malaysia, we have discovered 2 years of research, can give 70% of protein. So you give little, it can make the animal and the cattle fatter. And this is definitely food security. Food security is not, enough is not about human, it's about ecosystem. So the other jurisprudence I'm bringing through my book, one of the book I forgot to mention, Shariah is Life. Interesting book, Shariatu Hiyal Hayat. I mentioned, in fact, I redefined the faith for the first time. We studied in the madrasa, in the university where I went. Shariah is what? Is a set of aqidah, moral ethics, and legal injunction, right? This is what we have defined in all book on fiqh or Shariah. I have defined it differently. I have defined it as a set of, it's a aqidah, consists of aqidah, set of moral attitudes and legal injunction governing the ecosystem of life. The word governing is the functional rule of the fiqh. The current definition of Sharia is not functional. It's not functional, textbook orientation. So that's why we are not functional in our thinking. I'm putting the word governing and they're governing the ecosystem of life. And that's why when we talk about everything, hifzul nafas, hifzul mal, hifzul what else? Ad-din. It must be integrated. In my maqasid book, I mentioned the highest degree of maqasid is maqasid al-maqasid. One maqasid can relate to the 5 maqasid or more. So we have to find a product, a system, an institution, an idea that can serve not only a deen, but also al-man, can also al-nafas, and many other good things. So maqasid al-maqasid, this is the highest level of maqasid. And we cannot be assurance anymore. I was telling you just now, I was assurance. I was isolated and assurance approach. Me and myself. No, Islam is not about me and myself. Islam is all about finding the ecosystem to work with and to live with. And this is something that I wanted to comment that hifzu al-nafas should be extended, should cover everything that can ensure that the food will come to the table, that we have the proper medication when we are sick. The dua of Ibrahim alayhi salam, that ashifa. Of course, we have to pray to Allah, but we have to provide medicine, medical. And this is something, the more we talk about maqasid in a new way, the more we talk about Islamic banking must finance the pharmaceutical product, right? And finance the IP of the product. I'm sure your university has so many IP. In Malaysia, we have so many IP, but no one has developed into commercialization. Our company is the first. We bought over the IP on the vaccination against pneumonia. The highest IP we have bought in the history of Malaysia for the last 150 years perhaps. It's only 4 million ringgit Malaysia. And they were celebrating like mad because many IP were not developed. Where are we in terms of financing the IP in your local university to protect the plantation, the cattle and whatnot? So the more we talk about system, we are still assurance. We talk about property financing, car financing, working capital, but there are many other ecosystems that we have not gone into. I'm not saying we are bad, but we need to change the way to do things. May Allah give us the courage to do that. Okay, thank you. Yes.
So, personally, I belong to Islamic banking industry. Yeah. And as mentioned by Mr. Siddiqui, while introducing your profile, you have a vast experience of heading a regulator in Malaysia.
Yeah.
And you're also heading one of the Shariah board, Pakistani bank. So what are your thoughts about if you compare Pakistani regulator in comparison with Malaysian? And what do you think that what are the 3 factors which Islamic banking industry in Pakistan has to work on?
You wanted a diplomatic answer or honest answer?
An honest answer.
Just between 2 of us, okay? I think the biggest problem in many Islamic countries, without naming the countries, we are assurance in our approach. We are fighting alone. And that is not effective enough. So in order to bring this industry to a higher level, central bank is not good enough. We have to talk to capital market. Capital market is not good enough. We have to talk to other standards in the country, the governance standard, impact measurement standard, climate change standard, the university and what have you, the MOF, the taxation department, the court's order and what have you. So everyone must be interconnected. That's why my definition of Sharia is about governing the ecosystem. If we cannot govern the ecosystem, we are not Sharia. And this is a very powerful statement. I think in the past, we were a failure because we started separating our function. The mufti from the society, the education from science and technology, the IP and commercialization, the regulator and the regulatory, and from taxation and law. And that is the biggest challenge. In Malaysia, we can solve some of them, not all of them, but at least we have developed a kind of interconnectedness between the demand and supply market. We have people in demand and people in supply. And people who are intermediaries, they can solve the issue. Take the example of Sukuk. For Sukuk to emerge well, we have to have, they call it market maker. Here in Pakistan, you don't have market maker. In Indonesia, they don't have market maker because central bank or securities market have not given anyone the license to be market maker. Market maker is the one who can buy the Sukuk and keep them for themselves, or they can sell down. The fact that they can underwrite the Sukuk issuance will push up Sukuk issuance. And without having this function in the society, Sukuk cannot flourish. Sukuk cannot flourish. Malaysia has flourished because from day one, we give 5 licenses for 5 banks to become market maker. In Indonesia, until today, there's no market maker. That's why they have not flourished with regard to domestic Sukuk. But when it comes to sovereign Sukuk, they are the best in the world. They have issued up to 5 Sukuk. The most active government issuing Sukuk will be the Indonesian government. The latest one, $1 billion US for solar power, the SDG, the sustainability. So I don't want to compare country to country. I just give a very overall perspective. I think there are many, what you call it, mismatch between many agencies of the government, and that will slow down in Pakistan and many other parts of the world. You have to solve that problem first. How to make everyone connected and interconnected. We cannot live in isolation anymore. The ecosystem is the new field, new jurisprudence that we need to bring up to the market.
And Jazakallah, and I think a very important point that Islamic banks have to solve the real problem of the society, of the ecosystem. And we have to be connected with everyone actually. So we can't think in isolation, and very, very well, delivered point. And I think a lot of
Yeah, even in the hereafter, in Surah Az-Zumar, the people of Jahannam will be pushed to the Jahannam collectively, Zumara. In fact, the people of paradise will enter into paradise by holding their hands together. That means what? Ecosystem, collectivism. And this is, what's wrong going into paradise one by one, right? You go first, no. Al-Mu'minun yadkhuluna al-jannata zumara. And this is a very interesting phenomenon. I was thinking why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has even described the action of going into paradise. Hopefully we are part of the paradise people. We have to go in together. Because we have to work together. Working alone, even though you're a great guy, you are excellent guy, you are the hero of the world, it does not work in this world. You have to be together with your colleagues, your other agencies, even to enter paradise.
Jazakallah, because of the Maghrib time, we have to start, and we will, as the Sheikh is here after Maghrib, so we can also have some time for this because we have a meeting, but I think we'll find a couple of minutes for interaction. I'd like to invite Mr. Adnan for his closing remarks.
Dear professionals and the industry colleagues. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Daud Bakar. A big thanks to IBA CEIF for hosting this event. You know, I feel like Tansiri was talking about holding hands together, you know. So that is the spirit of Habib Metro Sirat. It's not proprietary as far as information about Islamic banking is concerned. It's not about knowledge base. So we are there as industry players and as a global bank which operates out of 10 countries to share the knowledge. You know, we have the best Shariah intellectual capital in shape of our local Shariah board as well as global Shariah board. So we come up with exchanging ideas. Recently, if you recall, there was a Shariah Majlis, a very effective one done by one of the leading foreign banks. So similar kind of informal sessions we interact and we talk to industry, we talk to academia, we talk to fellow bankers, and at the same time, the regulators. We've had some couple of sessions in the morning and we have received, alhamdulillah, valuable feedback about its effectiveness for the industry and for individual players. So once again, thank you for your time, thank you for your patience, and inshallah look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you, Mr. Tansiri, and again, on behalf of IBA Centre for Excellence in Islamic Finance, I'd like to thank all the audience, the respected participants who have come here, and especially our Honorable Dr. Daud Bakar, and we are very pleased to have him, and mashallah for your insights. Thank you for this the institution and all the honors you has. And I'd like to present a small token of appreciation for your visit, a small souvenir from IBA. So that will remember us in the prayers, and then whenever you come back again, we look forward to hosting you at IBA. And that's up. So we will wait the building so we can start this in culture to give a calligraphy to our yes.
Thank you very much. Pleasure. Thank you for
We also like to present the case study book from IBA. This is the documented on local case study and the treasury book on treasury. Was it? With this, thank you very much for joining us, and Namaz ki brigade campaign. 11th. We'll go to the 11th floor for Namaz. We can come. Can you switch off? ये इसको बंद कर देंगे, प्रोजेक्टर को बंद कर देंगे. शीशे यार ये ना प्रोजेक्टर बंद कर. सही.
Okay.
आ जाएं सब लोग, आ जाएं, एक ग्रुप फोटो के लिए. आगे ऐसे लाइन में डालो।
This is optional, okay? Optional, no maqasid. Optional.
Like it's corporate.
Yeah.
We'll engage everyone. ये पीछे बंद कर देंगे कहाँ से चलें जी रेडी बाहर से आ रही है 2-3 की लाइट नहीं बंद करें
देख लें रेजोल्यूशन देख लें वरना लाइट ऑन कर देते हैं लाइट ऑन कर दें
लाइट ऑन मतलब मैं ये पीछे वाला बंद कर हाँ चलें ओके थैंक यू